Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Commanding General, 2nd Infantry Warrior Division, Rock U.S. Combined Division, Major General Stephen W. Gillett, and the Division Command Sergeant Major Sean F. Carnes. Welcome to today's promotion ceremony, which will be broadcast live over Facebook. Today, the 2nd Infantry Division, Rock U.S. Combined Division, Deputy Commanding Officer for Maneuver, Colonel Promotable Guy M. Jones, will be promoted to the rank of Brigadier General. At this time, we would like to welcome our distinguished guests, Lieutenant General and Mrs. Burleson, and Command Sergeant Major Tagalaku. At this time, Sergeant John is presenting a bouquet of flowers to Mrs. Jones and a single rose to his daughter Emily. The flowers are in full bloom, which symbolizes the love and respect for their devotion and moral support over the years. A gift is being presented to his son Mitch. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the invocation delivered by the 2nd Infantry Division, Rock U.S. Combined Division Chaplain, Patrick L. Devine, and remain standing for the playing of the national anthems of the Republic of Korea and the United States of America.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we begin with humble thanksgiving that you have enabled us to gather to celebrate the faithful and distinctive service of Colonel Jones, along with the entire Jones family. We ask now for your favor that you increase their capacity to serve as you have now increased their influence. May the ceremony faithfully honor their commitment to our country, and may you continue to lead, guide, and inspire them as they continue their service in faith. We ask in your holy name, amen.
Infantry Warrior Division, Rock U.S. Combined Division, Major General Stephen W. Gillett.
All right. The crowd goes wild. No, they don't. Hey, how are we doing today? Well, Annyeong Hashimika, good afternoon, happy holidays, and good afternoon to all who are attending, both here and via live stream. So when I looked the last time, there was like 66 viewers on live stream. The data would tell you then you quadruple that or so. So there's probably like 250 people that are watching right now. All right. So I thank you all for joining us to honor Team Jones. You know, Guy, Deb, Emily, a sophomore at Texas A&M who came in, got in here from CONUS. Go Aggies. All right. And Mitchell, who's a freshman at Humphreys High School, and what they say is a budding golf extraordinaire, or at least that's what Guy says all the time. All right. As we look forward to promoting Guy to the rank of Brigadier General today, I'd like to recognize some family, friends, and distinguished guests who've made time out of their incredibly busy days and nights for those folks that are back in the States to join us. A special thank you for joining goes out to our guests in Texas on the live stream, Mrs. Joyce Bryant, who's Deb's mother, Mr. Jeff Bryant, Deb's brother, and the Michaels family, Matt and Tara, who are close friends of the Joneses from college, the good old Aggie days. Right, Guy and Deb? I'd like to recognize our USFK and 8th Army leadership with their wonderful spouses. First of all, CSM Tagalaku right here. Thanks for coming and joining us, Sergeant Major. Lieutenant General Bill and Cindy Burleson, and then thank you for coming and spending time with us here today. A special thanks. Oh, hold on a second. I had one in there. He didn't show up, but he may be watching right now. Special thanks to Father of the Rock U.S. Combined Division, our Rock Army retired Lieutenant General Chunenbaum, and finally many guests and mentors from the Army in CONUS on live stream who may be out there. Just want to recognize General Paul Funk, the TRADOC CG, Sergeant Major of the Army Michael A. Grinston, Lieutenant General retired Gary Valesky, Lieutenant General retired Dave Hogue, Lieutenant General retired Mike Tucker, and Lieutenant General retired Jim Huggins, a bunch of old guys that are out there watching from the States. For all of our additional distinguished guests, both from the ROC and the U.S., thank you for joining us this afternoon. So winter is upon us. It's the holiday season, which fits perfect with this awesome gift of having all the Joneses here to participate in Guy's promotion. Promotion to Brigadier General is unbelievably challenging, but more importantly, it's incredibly humbling to be selected for this level of responsibility in our profession of arms. Anyone who knows the Joneses will agree that Guy and Deb are two of the most humble, selfless servants on our planet. They've given a lifetime of determined commitment and dedication, personal and professional sacrifice, endlessly long days and nights, and awesome amounts of responsibility that's increased throughout the years, and much time apart, whether it's been in training or deployed. It's been a team effort for Deb and Guy through 25 plus years of marriage, a daughter and a son whom they're super proud of, and enduring at least 10 moves, which takes a toll on any family over time. The Joneses have spent so much time at Fort Bragg in the 82nd Airborne Division, I think that Deb is eligible to run for the mayor of Fayetteville. And based on the property that Betsy and I have there, I want you to run for the mayor of Fayetteville. And I say that because Guy was only around probably a third of the time, since he spent most of it in Afghanistan. Guy's also a repeat offender to the Republic of Korea, serving here as a young captain at Camp Hovey. Some of us know that area very well. He is also a Jedi warrior, but not like Baby Yoda. He's a Sam's type from Leavenworth, where eventually he develops into a Yoda-like leader as a director of the Mission Command Training Program, which was his previous assignment before coming here to Korea. He's commanded our nation's treasure in combat at multiple levels, while Deb has assisted families in need and has graciously sacrificed her time when others may not have been able to. All of us in the Warrior Division are so thankful to have the Joneses on Team Warrior for the past 18 plus months, and we get to enjoy them for another 6 months where Guy and Deb, as part of the team, have just contributed immensely. People look to him as a mentor, a leader, and a friend. They're great teammates, and I couldn't be more honored to promote such a talented, caring, and devoted leader today. So, having said that, I thank all of you who've attended. We appreciate all the family and friends who've joined in. Please be safe, and since it is the holidays, second to none, Kachi Kapsida, happy holidays. All right. So,
At this time, we welcome Colonel Promotable Guy M. Jones and his wife Deborah and children Emily and Nish.
come on, team. There's the team, Jack. All right. There we go. All right, have you been rehearsed in this? I gotta look, Emily, have you been rehearsed? All right, like multiple times? Okay, you good?
Yes, sir.
Are you sure? Okay, because I might have thrown a couple of hitches in there, okay? Just to challenge you, sometimes. Okay. Guy, Mitch, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
I mean, there's no, I mean, you can't slice this one, okay? All right? Okay. Is that a knife? You got a knife?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Okay, don't go carve anything out. Okay. Right. Okay, hold on a second. All right, so, for everybody, truly, this is an incredibly important moment. Not just for Guy getting promoted, which is, like I said, it's really hard. All right, and there's a lot of luck involved too. So don't think that doesn't matter to this. There's luck in the equation. There's a bunch of folks that are out there that we look around, and Guy has been selected to serve in this capacity. From here on out, it's not just, as I talked about, it is a team effort. All right. You know, you lose more and more of your time. There are more sacrifices. The other part of this is the Army tells you when you're going to get out of the Army at this point now, or retire. As Colonel, you had your own, you kind of had a say in that. I only say that because, you know what, that's about the commitment, that's about the dedication that it takes to serve at this level. All right, having said that, Guy, get you promoted.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain seated for the publishing of the orders. Attention orders. Headquarters, Department of the Army, Washington, D.C. The President of the United States has reposed special trust and confidence in the patriotism, valor, fidelity, and abilities of Guy M. Jones. In view of these qualities and his demonstrated potential for increased responsibilities, he is therefore authorized and directed to wear the uniform and one-star insignia of a Brigadier General, effective 14 December 2020, signed, Christopher C. Miller, Secretary of Defense.
awesome job. That's right.
Go ahead, you want to take a picture.
All right, stay where you're at. Take the mask off. New maskless. All right? Get that to me. We got her 6 feet separation. I'm authorizing it.
That's a nice picture.
I got Doc O somewhere around here, right? Here's a hell of a session.
I'll take one last photo.
Oh,
Outstanding. All right.
Major General Stephen W. Gillett will now present the General Officer Belt to Brigadier General Jones. The history of the General Officer's Belt dates back to World War II, with an order by the Army Chief of Staff that the belt be issued to all general officers. The black leather belt with the imprint of an eagle was first produced in 1944. Today, the occasion and uniform with which the belt is worn are at the discretion of the general officer.
Remember the discretion of the general officer. Yeah. It's kind of like WWE.
Yeah.
We're going to say, here ye.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the rendering of the oath of office.
no, not yet, not yet.
Oh, yes, sir.
All right. This is the official notification that guys are Brigadier General now. That's right. Not just for the Senate. All right, but Secretary of Defense. Outstanding.
Awesome.
Okay. If we're going to ask you, here we go. All right, God. You grab the flag in your left hand.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the rendering of the oath of office.
Please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name.
Hi, I'm Mr. Jones.
Having been appointed
I've been appointed,
an officer in the Army of the United States
have been appointed an officer of the Army of the United States
in the rank of Brigadier General,
in the rank of Brigadier General.
do solemnly swear
I solemnly swear
to support and defend
to support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic.
foreign and domestic.
That I will bear true faith
I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same.
and allegiance to the same.
That I take this obligation freely,
That I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion.
or purpose of evasion.
And that I will well and faithfully
That I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office upon which I am about to enter.
of the office of which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Outstanding. Congratulations. The newest Brigadier General of the United States Army. The crowd goes wild. Yes.
We just can't hear him on Facebook. Sorry, we're interrupting.
In General Orders Number 13, November 23rd, 1887, by authority of the Secretary of War, officers of the Corps of Engineers were authorized to carry on boats belonging to the engineer works under their charge a square scarlet flag with a white castle in the center. These flags corresponded to those of the battalions of the engineers. The original flags authorized for general officers were boat flags, scarlet in color. They were first authorized in War Department General Orders Number 4, dated August 22nd, 1903, for use of officers of the Army when making official visits to Navy vessels. In 1947, the Deputy Chief of Staff for Personnel authorized all general officer flags, except Medical Corps and Chaplain flags, to be scarlet with white stars and gold fringe. Bringing forward the general officer flag is Brigadier General Jones's Acting Administrative Assistant, Sergeant Williams, and his Acting Aide-de-Camp, Staff Sergeant Frank. Brigadier General Jones's son, Mitch, will now unfurl his dad's flag.
Awesome job, Major.
Third way, closer to off. Start off with just recognizing a few that are in here. Sir Major Tagg, thank you very much for being here. General Burleson and Cindy, and you know what you mean to me. I've got a little bit more. General Gillen and Betsy, as well as Sergeant Major Carnes and Teresa. Thank you all, as well as fellow general officers. That's weird to say at this point in time. Leaders, families, and friends, whether you're here, out on VTC land, or in Facebook, thank you all for taking the time out of your schedule to be with my family and I today to share in this promotion. Today, my focus, I'm going to try not to get broken up because I almost did with your speech, sir. Today, my focus is towards thanking those that have influenced me and molded me to be here today, because there's no way I could be here today by myself. First and foremost, I want to thank God for all that He's done for me and my family. For unto whomever much is given, of him much is required. Luke 12:48 has always driven me to do better each and every day, and I'll continue to do that. Many of you have often heard that when General Abrams talks about or promotes somebody, he talks about the Metcalf rule. So I've learned, I am a learning person, so I do take that to heart, and I will talk about my family first, so that way that they're not forgotten. And I could, of course, talk for days about what they've done for their service throughout this career, but I will not today. Deb has been in my life before I was commissioned. She actually accepted my proposal for marriage while I was at the basic course at Fort Benning, Georgia. Later story. And she didn't really understand what it would require as part of being a spouse in this career. But this promotion today is as much about her as it is about me. Deb, you've always been there to support me. As General Gillen talked about, our family, whether I was there at home or not, as well as our units and the families that we gained every time we changed units. And jointly tackle whatever life has thrown our way. I love you more each and every day. And thank you for being you, because you are the love of my life. To Emily, you've been an independent and resilient young woman who any doubt can be proud of, and I'm no different. You've always had to be more mature than your peers because of my profession, and I really appreciate you doing that. She graduated from high school. 2 days later, we brought her here to Korea just to send her back home for 18 months of college, all by herself with her parents halfway around the world. That takes an incredible person to do that. So thank you, Emily. I love you. Mitch, you have literally grown into a fine young man. Your compassion and care for others impresses me all the time. I am a very proud dad because you embody the character qualities that so many cherish, and I love you for that. To my mother-in-law, who's watching on Facebook, thank you for trusting me with your daughter and truly making me your son. You have sacrificed right along with us, both for the good and through the bad. We love you so much. Same thing for Jeff. We appreciate for everything that you've done for us, oftentimes being a part, taking care of Emily when we're not there. And to our lifelong friends, Matt, Tara, and the rest of the family, we wish you were here today. Matt, thank you for driving halfway across Houston, over an hour drive he did tonight, just so that he could help Joyce get onto Facebook and watch this live. So Matt, thank you very much. I also have a special friend out there as well. I've known since I was a young captain, Mr. Carl Bludow. He is a Vietnam vet and a paratrooper through and through. Thanks, Carl, for all your friendship. I'm going to say several names and individuals and thank you, but I'm sure I'm going to miss many of you, and I apologize right up front because you each deserve thanks, because I've learned or gained something from everybody, both here in the room, out there on VTC land, as well as on Facebook, and I thank you. I count myself lucky to have had great trainers and coaches through over 29 years of service. Throughout my career, I've always looked to the backbone of the Army to advise and coach, especially me. I've been blessed with a lot of great NCOs and a lot of great sergeant majors. People like Burgos, Champagne, Flowers, Gooden, Green, Bly, Grinston, Tagg, and Barretto. And even today, Sergeant Major Carnes continues to do that coaching and shaping all of those that are in his squad, to include me. So thank you to all and the countless others that have helped mold me. I do want to acknowledge a special role that Sergeant Major Gooden and Green have played in my life as they have shared my pain and sorrows of losing soldiers in combat. We share our frustrations and pain privately while outwardly pulling up our bootstraps and showing the strength of the formation because we had to continue to fight. They have shared this burden with me and to never forget the 26 soldiers that we've lost and their families that paid the ultimate sacrifice. So if you're watching, you know how I feel about you. I couldn't thank you more than what you did for me during those times. I'm sure that many of you can remember back to that unit or special organization that you were a part of. It was not because of the location, it was all about the people. And for me, that was 3505. Because I was able to have a brotherhood that Jim Huggins and Marty Schweitzer forged in war. I have 4 brothers. They've all, I have to thank them because they drove me to success. Keith Pruitt, Mark Landis, Brian Sullivan, and Clay Novak. Rarely do you find a whole bunch of company commanders in one battalion that all make it to the rank of 06. This was that special group. And thank you all for being there for me throughout this entire time and still being there for each other today. I have the opportunity to also be part of a lot of other special teams. You know, they all have one thing in common. Great selfless leaders that always focus on their people and also demonstrate duty, selfless service, and loyalty to not only their people, but the Army as an institution. I want to thank Lieutenant General Retired Gary Valesky for driving me to be an organizational leader and teaching me how to fight at the Corps and the JTF level. He, along with many of the great DA civilians, Gordy Flowers, Mike Fuller, Lars Lydon, Jen Brown, and Johnny Johnston, showed me the strength of an integrated and diverse team. I also want to thank some of the other great civilians that I've had the opportunity throughout my years to serve with. Reinecke, Dutro, Myers, Trujillo, Perry, Green, Richardson, Morgan, McGuire, Bailey, the Hanson brothers, and Miss Shelley, and countless others. I count myself lucky, as I have not just had 1 or 2 mentors. I mean, I've been really lucky. I actually counted them, probably over 30 mentors. Most of them will tell you that it took a village to keep me in line and not to go too far astray off the beaten path, but they've done it. Special thanks to my MCTP SME crew, Generals Allen, Hogue, Tucker, Huggins, Buchanan, Lundy, Gervais, Weber, Laughlin, Longo, Golden, Galloway, Thomas, Wolf, Akins, and Seward. From other places across the Army, Generals Funk, Richardson, James, Lanza, Hodges, Bolger, Howard, Menace, Donahoe, Christian, Bonner, Stammer, Milhorn, McGuire, and Frank. Thank you all, because you've all coached me, and it's taken all of you to get me where I am today. Another group that I have to say thank you to is our allies and our partners, right? General Chunenbum, Kim Tae-up, Kim Young-chul, Yu Se-on, as well as Ho Tae-kun. Thank you all. Kapshi Kapshi Da. I would also be remiss, where to go, he's sitting on this side, if I didn't say something about my battle buddy, Lance Calvert. Thank you for everything you've done. You know, it doesn't matter, you know, even though we have our lanes, he rolls up his sleeves. It doesn't matter whose it is. We tackle it together, and that's what it's all about. So thank you very much, Lance. One that I have not mentioned thus far, and has probably known me the longest, is Lieutenant General Burleson. Sir, I remember, still remember this day, when I was working at the Panther Brigade on the staff for General Burleson as a young captain. Our paths have crossed since then many times, and he continues to coach me. Clearly, some things have stuck, but clearly I still have a lot that I need to learn, and be coached. Sir, thank you for setting an example, both you and Cindy, not just through what we do in the professional side, but also what y'all have done for me and my family over these many years. I really appreciate it. Finally, I want to thank Major General Gillen for taking the time to promote me today. It really means, it was really special, sir, especially some of the words that you said up here. As you said, some were true and some were maybe a little bit of a stretch. I really appreciate both you and Betsy for pulling in the Jones family and making us part of your team for the last 18 months. You showed me how to be a general officer. You've trusted me to execute things with some broad guidance, and you've given me the leeway to learn as I executed those. And I appreciate how you're always focused on soldiers at the lowest level. And the other piece is accountability is always part of that discussion. And that's taught me a lot as how we approach things at a broader level. Your audio does match your video simply because you counsel and coach at all levels. I appreciate the time that you've spent with Lance and I for coaching and relating your experience so we can understand the why and why you make certain decisions. It's been helpful to understand that. So for everybody, thank you for being here. I'm sorry I'm a little bit long-winded today. Kopshi gopshi da, second to none.